welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am still Cat Peach. I am still joined by Random Task, but we are joined by two different teams now. From the Heroic Division, we are going to have Get Stuffed versus Offensive Gaming in this series. Random Task, how excited are you for this matchup?
Very excited to cast this game. It's going to be between two top Heroic teams, possibly. We'll know after this.
Yeah, both are pretty high up in the standings right now. I actually forget what the specifics are. Get Stuff sitting at number 1 currently here in the standings.
Basically tied with Regen Black. They're both at the same record, I guess. And Offensive Gaming is 4-2 record. That puts them at around. Take a look. They're at 6th.
Yeah, so still pretty close. We're still kind of early in the season as well. We're starting to get kind of to the middle fairly soon, but I mean, there's always opportunity for teams to climb. So I think these two are going to be hyper competitive coming into today's matchup. One of them actually has a Provius cookie portrait on the side of Offensive Gaming, so I already have a new best friend going into this
what
matches. Litinx or Litinx has the Provius Christmas cookie.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if you know, but I am definitely a very big Provius fan. But I believe we are all set here in the lobby. So we're going to get this game going and catch people up on what happens in our coin flip. So we are going to Sky Temple for game number 1 here. Offensive Gaming winning the coin flip, choosing map pick, bringing us here to Sky Temple, banning out Dragonshire in the process. Get Stuffed going to be the first pick in this series. They banned out Cursed Hollow, and later this evening we will go to Tomb of the Spider Queen for their map choice. So going to be a very interesting couple of maps. I know Sky Temple isn't the most popular map these days, but it's always good to see a team come back to it here.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people playing on it. It's generally very snowbally. So this look based. Now they're in a spot where they need to ban Abathur and or Urel or take it. I think it's going to be a big problem that they didn't ban Abathur first.
Yeah, I mean, the Abathur ban, given the focus on those shrines spreading out on the map, it is a very large map. Abathur gets quite the bit of value coming into Sky Temple, as does Dahaka. The ban coming out from Get Stuffed. So will this be the Abathur? It's going to be the Urel. So that is off the table here.
Yeah, okay. Well, to be honest, the Get Stuffed has like a 5-0 record with Urel, and Urel is a really good character especially on this map. So that's a pretty good ban. I'm maybe expecting an Abathur pickup here, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much they want to prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean, when you pick up the Abathur early, I mean, you want to grab it fairly early. I don't think the absolute first pick, at least for the side to Get Stuffed, really warranting that. But in the 1-2, I can definitely see it. With that Genji banned out, that is a very popular clone for that Ultimate Evolution. But still lots of options on the table. We've seen the comeback of Greymane for a lot of teams, so being able to pick that up, do a lot of damage. Or if you want to focus out something more like your frontline warrior, which I know some teams do. We're getting the white main Jaina though for Offensive Gaming.
This is an Abathur pickup right here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How much you want to bet?
Decent amount. How much? 10? 10?
We'll do 10 hypothetical dollars.
$100 billion.
For the Abathur. And there it is with that Maiev as well coming out from Get Stuff.
Very much like the method comp that they ran on Volskaya with Maiev.
What rendered that out? I'm trying to remember.
It was Garrosh. It was Garrosh instead, but they did ban the Urel, which I think is a big part of it. I think Urel is a really strong Abathur target.
I just actually need to update stream title here. The Alex Straza is coming up on things that aren't Infernal Shrines these days,
I don't get that ban.
I don't get the ban here.
I don't get the ban. They should have banned Karazim if they really wanted to ban a support. Or Mouth. Probably Karazim. Because he provides that, like, dive potential. Well, we see Diablo ban.
Yeah, the Diablo
could be
ban.
Garrosh, could be a Joanna. It really depends on what they want to do here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We have been seeing every once in a while the Anubarak come up, but I don't think
they're not gonna go Anubarak.
There's not enough follow-up dive. Yeah, especially into that Maiev is really dangerous.
They don't need to dive. They need to be more defensive. I really.
So they have the Greymane that if they want to dive, we have an instant Malthael Valir picked up for Get Stuffed. We are going to see that solo Abathur support being run for Get Stuffed. Oh my golly.
I think they're in trouble. They're going to have a really hard time against this.
Get Stuffed against Offensive Gaming?
I think Offensive Gaming is going to have a really hard time against this.
Mm-hmm. See what they choose to follow up with. They're going with a Nazebo. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. All right, so we have Solo Abathur support for Get Stuff. We've seen that a couple times come up. We actually had.
This is what's going to happen. You're going to get ETC is going to get shredded every single time, and it's going to be a problem because he's the only. They really have to make sure that Get Stuff doesn't get on Whitemane. If they don't get on Whitemane, I think they can actually do pretty well in fights because she's going to be someone that can save people extremely well in these scenarios. However, that being said, I have a really hard time believing they're not going to get on Whitemane.
Mm-hmm.
They have pretty good clear. They have so much kill potential on the side of Get Stuffed with the global Abathur. They have so much map presence, and I just really have no idea how Offensive Gaming is going to handle this. So we'll see that. Maybe they know something I don't.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking with John Knight before the game as well. It sounds like they were scrimming together recently, so perhaps there was stuff actually. Can you actually pause the game real fast? It looks like in between lobbies we got kicked from Central. Which is very annoying. Can you actually pause?
They're saying they're remake.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have to remake the lobby because we're not actually on Central. So everyone is going to leave this game. We will redo the draft real fast in the time being. Apologies, folks.
I mean, you should just you can go to the quick match setting or whatever.
We can go to the quick match. Yeah, that is very true. Let us do that. Still gotta go to Sky Temple. Alright, sounds like Get Stuff will remake and bring us in. I didn't realize that the game would bounce you off of different servers in between custom lobbies, which makes absolutely no sense.
How did they even change the server?
It's in the settings.
Oh.
There's a option in the settings where you have to go and swap your server. So, bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. So I guess if we actually leave this. But yeah, let's talk about these drafts a little bit more while we get this squared away. So we don't see the Valir coming out very often, and honestly, I wasn't necessarily expecting the Nazebo on the side of Offensive Gaming. What do you think? Is Valir gonna have a hard time here? How do you think?
Valir is gonna be able to crush everyone. I don't really know what they're gonna do. They have to be extremely careful rotating They probably have to rotate safely all the time. Anyone on team of offensive gaming could just instantly get melted, including ETC, which is kind of why I questioned the pick a little bit. I was thinking Joanna might be better, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. We are almost done setting up.
I mean, it's not even just a kill potential. You have to keep in mind they do have the aperture for the global. Maev, Malthael, have pretty good wave clear. Valeria is not bad. They have good merking with Maev and Malthael, so it's not like they're just relying on trying to get kills. I don't really understand a Nazebo pick. You'll have to enlighten me on that, so we'll see.
I mean, we did see a lot of Nazebo coming out of Eastern Clash, especially with that Ravenous Spirit, so I'm not sure if they have something planned there that they've been rehearsing, or maybe the thought there is give Greymane a target with the zombie wall to capture those squishier targets in.
Yeah, but like, what squishy target? Like,
I mean,
the lowest health guy on our team has 2,000 health. So.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to theorize. Obviously, we're not in the team's heads.
No, I don't. There could be some reason that I just don't see it immediately.
Yeah.
Right. It was my point, and I'm actually kind of curious about that because they really don't have like an actual soul laner, and I think that's even worse in this kind. Like Nazebo, if he's even 1/4 of the way outside of the wall, he could die.
Right.
I'm assuming he's gonna be in lane. He could be Greymane. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, we often do see the Greymane also swapping in for that solo lane. But we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we will actually get this show on the road properly this time. So over here in the blue, we will have Get Stuffed. We are going to have Battlejet on Valeria, Psycho on Maev, Drink and Run on Abathur, Dragon King on Muradin, and John Knight will be playing that Malthael.
And on the right side, we have Offensive Gaming. We have Frank Jukes on ETC, Exalted One on Greymane, Lintenex on Whitemane, Slytherin on Jaina, and Sturge on Nazebo.
And I'm very interested to see how the early parts of this game play out. I know Nazebo, one of those characters that you're really trying to get into that late game, get those stacks up as well. So I'm wondering if Offensive Gaming going to be able to take this game that far in, or if Get Stuff is just going to shut this out pre-20 against their opponents.
So you do see Toad build. That could be the logic. Maybe that might be the logic behind it. Toad build can do pretty well until all the melees.
Yeah, both teams kind of just rotating here for the time being.
You see Greymane already at half health, just by sitting out in the lane slightly.
Yeah, definitely doesn't have that as much self-sustain as other heroes in the game. Gonna have to be babysat by that Whitemane in order to stay capped up on any health that he ends up losing out on. Immediate focus onto the siege camp, though, from Offensive Gaming, trying to build up the pressure, although same response coming out from Get Stuff, so going to be a trade there. The Muradin into Nazebo up here in the top lane is an interesting... We were talking about the solo lane pair-up, and I definitely wasn't assuming that Dragon King on that Muradin would be up here this early part of the game.
I think they're going to keep John Knight at the bottom. When the lanes come up, when the temples come up, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he is in trouble. There is the dive from the Exalted One. The power slide to prevent any more movement. And John Knight is going to be the first blood of this game going over to Offensive Gaming. And we see Battlejet going in, silencing the Nazebo, getting in that damage. Don't think gets the kill. Maybe if the Abathur hat was there a little bit earlier, maybe additional damage in to secure it. But very close getaway from Nazebo.
They're going to get a pretty good... Yeah, they did, and I think that's a really good kill for them. It's going to give them... They're already taking out the front wall here, so that's good on them to do that.
Yeah, good on that. Oh, the read from Frank Jukes onto Battlejet. Seeing that glimmer from the stealth and being able to power slide into it to reveal very good plays coming out from offensive gaming in those kind of situations. We often see people really scared of that stealth and simply backing away, but Frank Jukes saying, no, we're just going to engage you right to the face and make you regret trying to sneak in here, Valera.
Yeah, so right now, experience is even, but I think experience matters a lot less in this map than actual structure damage. And right now, they have a significant amount of structure damage. And you see offensive gaming already going for the Merc camp on the right. Bruiser. Which is going to put a lot of pressure on the top lane.
Yeah, it's going to bring pressure to the top lane. Given that Malthael is kind of already heading up that way, wondering how quickly that'll be able to be cleared out if the members of Offensive Gaming decide to come into the shrine. The lane's already pushed out pretty heavily in favor of Get Stuffed up there as well. So I think at most it's going to relieve a lot of pressure up in that top lane, which is still something very important for Offensive Gaming in this situation. They really need a little bit of that padding.
Yeah, but I'm also surprised they're not trying to go for the top tempo with pushing that camp. They're kind of just seeding it.
Yeah, seeding it just a little bit. Lots of dedication to clear it up as well from lots of members up here, although also up here to assist Malthael in making sure the shrine is kept in their favor. Mid-shrine ends up finishing up. The power slide coming out onto Psycho on that Maya. A lot of focus. The tether going to come out, but she's going to be able to blink away, although the damage from Jaina tried to make something happen, but ETC is going to fall here. And now we're 1-1 on the kill board for these teams. Zebo, though, has been pressuring this bottom lane, which is where our next shrine is going to spawn, so being able to get out that well is a huge advantage for offensive.
Yeah, getting that well is a pretty big deal. I felt like that offensive gaming was playing the macro extremely well with the temples, and as soon as the temple came up, they digressed a little bit. They didn't push with the... I felt like they had a huge advantage pushing with the camp, especially considering that there's not much defense on the part of Get Stuffed, and I think pushing with the camp with the Greymane and maybe even a Gazebo, they would have gotten a decent amount of value off of it.
Yeah, they are pushing here, though, in the mid lane, again, trying to soak up a lot of that structure damage that you had talked about earlier. Psycho putting out the Fan of Nines, trying to get as much damage out as possible, trying to deter this push. But it looks like John Knight going in, not willing to push the issue too much, but the silence going out from Battlejet onto that Nazebo forces the disengage there. The healing from Whitemane so far seems fairly consistent. Although I'm wondering to see how that holds up as we get into the mid parts of this game once level 10 hits.
Psycho's really out of position.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But
the Abathur hat, though. The Abby hat, just a little bit of protection there. Drink run.
Zebo's dead here. Zebo's dead.
Dead in the top lane.
This is the part where I think they're really slipping up a lot. I felt like they were really handling the macro in the beginning of the game, and now they're just kind of digressing, like I said before. Now they have to deal with this camp, which they're not doing.
Yeah, they're not dealing with the camp. They're also going to have to back out of the shrine once Get Stuff hits level 10, which is going to come very close, especially with Malthael pushing that camp in. Is Zeba going to go clear up there? But so far, this has been free shrine, no contestant in favor of offensive gaming, so they at least have that advantage. And like you talked about, having the structure damage is very important on this map, but you don't want to lose too much in levels, so going to give up the rest of it to their opponents with that 10 advantage. Rotate mid, try to push out this lane as well, and see if they can simply catch up, get those heroics, and then have a few more options on the table.
Yeah, but they're going to need to be careful here to make sure not to get engaged upon.
And Get Stuff coming up, looking for something. The silence going out onto Greymane, and Last Rites finishes off the job, and that is a beautiful gank kill for Get Stuffed there, whose eyes are now entirely focused on this buff. There's only 4 members up with no heroics. There's nothing offensive gaming can do to contest that boss call.
They cannot. They're just getting cut out right now. A lot. Enough that Get Stuff is able to immediately capitalize with the top fort, with the boss, the bottom temple channel, and I think that what the early lead that offensive game he had in the beginning is starting to slip away. And I think that the later the game goes, the more that Get Stuff actually is better at. I think Valeera scales really hard.
Yeah, she's going to scale. Jaina is trying to grab that camp solo up in the top 4 offensive gaming to try to add additional push pressure for that Nazebo. This fort on the bottom, though, going down. Frank Juice using the power slide to back away. Level 10's here, but there's not enough team members to really engage in any kind of fight, so they're just going to retreat behind their gates. This boss is going to continue to push on these structures. Nazebo still pushing and soaking in that top lane, while Get Stuffed is getting their absolute way here in them.
Yeah, they're getting the keep wall, which I think is...
Oh, that was Clone. Yeah, Clone used for additional pressure in that engagement. Beautiful camp steal on the way out of here. In 13, again, we have this level advantage that Get Stuff is holding on to.
I'm not sure if this keep is gonna die, this fort is gonna die or not. I think it's dead.
Yeah, the mule can't out heal it. It's just going to buy a little bit of time.
Yeah. I honestly think that's kind of a wasted mule. But he might have not been. It's hard to do the math on that. I don't exactly know it either, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's whether or not it's likely a call. I mean, I'm no expert Abathur player, but sometimes you just have to concede that you're going to lose a structure no matter how hard you plan on defending it. Offensive gaming, seeing John Knight up here by themselves, going in for the flank. The power slide goes out, but John Knight able to get away, no problem here, forcing the rotation. No kill gotten, and that's a couple shots, at least. For the time being, not granted to the side of offensive gaming, which is going to give Get Stuff time to maybe position around here, see if they can get a pick themselves.
That's what it looks like. And ETC's dead.
Yeah, the focus on to Frank Jukes, the power slide to try to get out, but the last rites was already applied. The beautiful tether onto Slytherin and Linux. The water elemental coming out from Jaina, trying to slow the targets. Lots of damage coming out from both sides. Both health bars looking really low. Psycho the lowest actually at this point. And the one kill is going to be all Get Stuff can get for the time being. But are now going to retreat. But I mean, they are still mostly commanding this game. But with the even talents now coming up for offensive gaming, if they have an opportunity to turn this around, it's going to have to be soon.
They're going to need to get a fight somewhere, and I think they're going to need to win pretty big. With that, I think they can come back in this game, if not get a lead. But I have no idea if they can force a fight at this point, because Get Stuffed has a big lead, and all they need to do is really just trade temples and they win.
Yeah, and I feel like
they'll win eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, if offensive gaming could perhaps, in front of one of those temple phases, they've been trying to rotate and get these ganks onto John Knight on that Malthael, who has been very often pushing the solo lane. They're going to get the power slide onto Battlejet. The Abathur hat comes out to try to sustain them, but Valeera ends up falling, and that's exactly the pick they need. Dragon King going to use the Dwartroff to try to get away, but the Exalted One currently on the chase. The Abathur hat is going to make sure that chase does not continue. But that was a great pick, starting to get in the right direction for offensive gaming.
That was a very good pick. It's right. Like you said, it's a start in the right direction. I'm surprised they're not trying to contest the bottom, because yeah, that's the one they needed. They can't let them get that. Because the bottom keep is low.
Yeah, the bottom keep is low, and that shrine is going to start targeting that bottom keep directly. They do grab this siege camp, at least to help push out the lane slightly in their favor, which can be an advantage. They're going to get the shots, Get Stuff waiting to see if they can catch a member off guard. We see Nazebo rotating down as well. Before Nazebo gets here, though, offensive gaming, if they they're going to have to take this fight. Get Stuff going in, knowing that they have level 16 talents. The Water Elemental coming out for the defense for Offensive Gaming. Frank Jukes caught entirely surrounded on the shrine by the team. The Mosh Pit coming out. Greymane with the dive takes out the Malthael. Containment Cadets coming out to stop that assault. But Valeera is still going to fall. Psycho getting incredibly low with that. Clone is going to fall. Or no, that wasn't a clone. That was Maev herself. And Dragon King on the retreat now. Not even thinking about the shrine. Offensive Gaming going for the boss.
I think that, to be honest, I don't think they needed to force that fight. I understand why they did. They were a talent tier, but to be honest with you, I would have rather liked to see them go for more of the split pressure, trade temples, get pressure on the map type of deal, because now they're probably going to lose a keep, and I think they're in kind of trouble right now.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think, a little bit of a confident misstep coming out from Get Stuff. But when you're the #1 team in standings at the moment, you feel a bit of comfort being able to take on those kinds of fights with that kind of advantage. But the members of Offensive Gaming simply not giving up, not letting that deter them anyway. That Mosh Pit, though, coming out was absolutely crucial.
Oh, they barely saved it. They're going to need to go back and get that, because Mule's going to heal that up. They don't.
Ooh, that is quite the low keep there. You are correct. Beautiful.
They actually, I think they really need to go there and try to force on that.
Yeah, I think after them trying to force the last fight, possibly not too inclined to do the same tactic twice in a row, but they are rotating up. I think they want something. But now that the shrine's gone, perhaps they can fight more in the open air.
I think you started to see why. So the white main is starting, like I said, if they don't get on the white main, I think it's a problem, because sure, burst heals are absurdly good. Mostly AoE burst heals. But
both teams, looks like they are trying to come in and finish off that keep. The Mule is already out though, but with the response of all members of Get Stuff responding, trying to protect it, the keep's gonna stand just a little bit longer and a little bit healthier thanks to that Abathur.
yeah, it looks like they're trying to. Oh.
Trying to make something happen here. Battlejet getting the damage onto Frank Jukes. But neither team really willing to fight any longer than that. They're going to disengage, clear out a lane here for Get Stuffed just a little bit. And then Nazebo focusing on camps. The rest of the team focusing on that top camp. Uh-oh.
He needs to back up.
He needs to back up now. He has no idea this is coming in. The beautiful steal, the beautiful kill. Frank Jukes coming in with the power slide, not enough to stop the assault on that Nazeba though. But Frank Jukes using that W, trying to make space, trying to get away. But the Exalted One is going in hard on Dragon King as well. And this fight is kind of all over the place. Psycho looking like they want to go in a bit more. Drink Run with that Abathur clone as well, trying to put out the damage, get that silence. But the rest of the team not willing to follow up just yet. But that was a great distraction for Get Stuff to allow this bottom camp that they stole to push a little bit into this bottom lane.
Yeah, it's gonna stop the pressure on that. I'm gonna be able to mule up that bot keep. It's not the end of the world getting the death there, but it certainly doesn't help. And remember, you're going against a mule Abathur, so always take into account that you will lose structured trades all the time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We're seeing a reverse attempt here from Offensive Gaming to try to do the same thing. The containment disc coming out onto the Greymane, immediately stopping any initiation from Offensive Gaming, given that all their damage wrapped in a little container.
What I like about Offensive Gaming, I think they're sometimes a little bit at I think both teams have a little missteps in positioning, but I think both teams are willing to be aggressive, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, aggressive is the name of the game when you have a gray main on your team, so being able to support that dive and get that damage in, get those picks is crucial. But the Valera as well, so both teams just trying to see who dives first. The Gargantuan coming out, lots of damage coming out onto Get Stuff. We're going to have Malthael falling for the time being. All the members of Offensive Gaming still up. The containment does again up to stop ETC and that assault. Dragon King looking very low. The members of Offensive Gaming pinging on this Bruiser camp, trying to get again that pressure on the map. They already have a camp pushing in that top lane, so this should hopefully be a keep for them if they can push this before Malthael is returned.
All right, I'm starting to like the combo of the ETC and the white main a little bit more. Because ETC actually tends to be a lot better when he has the type of burst, you know, save kind of hero. And I think white main kind of fills that spot now as opposed to like Uther or Rhaegar. I'm seeing the value that's coming out right now, so I actually applaud them for the pick. Like, I like it a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah, I mean, white main's been kind of hot or cold, I think, in effectiveness for a lot of teams, but Offensive Gaming seems like they've really practiced with her, tried to figure out her strengths and weaknesses, and are making it work here in this scenario, especially against this solo support Abathur, and maybe that is kind of the key, even though the draft was a bit out of order there. We're going to have Maev going in for the engage, the silence coming out onto Frank Jukes, using the Echo Paddle to make some room, but the 2 immediate kills onto Get Stuff, and it looks like Battlejet might be next to follow with the final couple kills trying. The Exalted one trying to get it, finally gets a kill. The clone from Drink and Run also going to expire, and what a beautiful stunned engagement. Just the burst of damage coming out between the Jaina, Nazebo, and Greymade for Offensive Gaming seems to be really turning these fights around in the late game.
I think they're trying, I think Offensive Get Stuff is trying a little too hard to say, oh, they're all squishy, we can burst anyone. They really need to go for a flank and try to get on the white main. I think they're not going to be able to kill anyone if they're all bunched up and white main just heals them and presses the R button. They're going to be in trouble every single time, especially considering that the solo support Abathur is not really designed to take like 5-on-5 fights all the time. It's mostly designed to get rotational advantages and force good rotations.
Yeah.
Basically.
Remember when this keep was almost dead, Random? Remember when it was almost dead? And now look at it. 75% healthy. Mule's doing great, but this boss now with the shrines as well.
I think this is checkmate.
It's looking very close to checkmate. Last stand coming in from Get Stuff, though. They're going to go in. Dragon King trying to find a target to stun there, but the blizzard damage coming out from Jaina. The silence, the focus onto the Exalted one, though. Greymane is going to fall here. The Mosh Pit going to confirm the kill on Muradin. The core falls to Boss. GG to Offensive Gaming, taking game number 1 here. Ooh.
Yeah, so shifted a lot, but I think in the end, the late game team fights, I think really favored Offensive Gaming. Like I said, that white main, I think they were able to go with a little greedier comp without the double front line because I think the white main was able to save them so consistently.
Yeah, just taking out some of the stats here, too. It was a fairly evenly stacked game compared to our last series. 6 to 10 in terms of kills. The damage coming out from Maev, though, and that siege as well. But the damage coming out from Jaina just
like,
a bit over.
I really don't know what the... Like, in the long... I really don't know what the Nazebo provided in that fight in general. Because they got the 20, yeah, but it's just like, it didn't really even matter. I would have liked to see, like, even any other backliner per se, but I think both teams did a really good job. But like I said, I think that Get Stuffed was too complacent, just like trying to take a hit on fight all the time by the end, and they couldn't do that. They couldn't afford to do that because they will lose the 5-on fight with the white main and the mosh pit. They had one mosh interrupt technically. Really? No, can Valeria outrange it with stealth?
I
I
actually
don't
don't
know.
know. I haven't.
I actually don't know if she gets hit by it too. So you have one mosh counter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's the guy. That's the guy who wants to be on the front line. You can't have your. You can't initiate with the other. I guess you could initiate with Maiev.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Psycho was really eager to, I think, initiate in a lot of those fights, but also quickly get out of the situation, if possible, with the blink.
I think that, like, the most part, Murden was doing a pretty good job of actually... I think the backliners got a little antsy and kind of stepped forward a little bit too much, you know? I think both sides need to clean up their rotations a little bit. Not rotations, but their laning. I think it's a little bit easier in this map, but I think both teams, there were some I think John Knight was picked up a few times. Zebo, who's on the Zebo? No, Sturge. I think Sturge was picked up a few times in lane. So I think on both the offlaners, they need to be a little bit more careful this game. And I think let's see what happens when they decide to fight for reals. You know, I think they kind of... I really like the comp from Get Stuff, but I just think they didn't execute it well in the late game. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think banking too much on early game advantage, not letting it go, is definitely a lot of the thought behind many Abathur compositions. So once you lose out on that, once the team gets equal footing, you're kind of in a bit of a hard place to make it up.
No, most of the time, Abathur comps scale harder. The problem with solo support Abathur is that you're trying to get solo support Abathur. When you're relying on Abathur as a support, you're relying on getting the early advantage. But I think
looks like you cut out there for a second. I heard a rip, and then still waiting on Random to join us into the speaker realm. Over here, I see him dangling through cords. We're gonna get started on this draft here, actually, and as the voiceover said, hello, welcome back! So we are going to... Yeah, let's talk about this game. So Tomb of the Spider Queen, which was the pick from Get Stuff. So you already won out on your opponent's map choice here. So coming into Tomb of the Spider Queen, they've got to be feeling good already.
that was no. Yeah, you won at your map choice. That was Offensive Gaming's map, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying this is... oh, sorry, yeah, I keep switching who won in that game. So, yeah, Offensive Gaming winning there. So Get Stuffed, apologies, needing to come back around, reset, know that this is their map. And maybe try something a bit less funky, perhaps, than the solo Abathur support composition.
It's hard to cheese on this map without going Cho'Gall, so... Which I don't think that they're the type of team that's going to run it, but I could be wrong.
I mean, you never know here. I have seen crazier, I think.
Yrel ban, good ban. I think banning the Yrel seems like a good idea in general.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it gets through so much, but John Knight seems to favor her a lot.
Yeah, John Knight was actually almost complaining that he has to play Yrel every single game because she's just so strong. But with the bans, it's almost like Offensive Gaming either knows that and doesn't want him playing, or doing him a favor.
They don't play. They don't look like they play the Yrel that much either. So maybe they just go with the option of just banning it too. That's possible.
Yeah, I do like the Janna ban coming out though from Get Stuff, but early Gul'dan. Ooh.
I'm not sure about this priority right now. I think this can get punished pretty hard.
Yeah, for sure. Very, not so much a mobile assassin coming out, although the wave clear is excellent, especially on this map. The Diablo Deckard Kane pickup. Enemies in Diablo, friends here over in the Nexus.
If you're on the side of Offensive Gaming, ooh.
Here we go. So we got a Kerosene.
I think this is it. This has got to be a Garrosh pick. I'm calling it, right?
Ooh, we've got a
All right,
Alright.
so I think they gotta ban Garrosh.
Is it a Garrosh or is it a Muradin? You get Muradin with the Dwarf Toss in, along with the Engage of Greymane and Karazim as an option. But with the Garrosh, you're right. You throw back, have the dive on the behind you.
There's no
with the
response
rest.
to that. There's no response to that. They have to ban Garrosh right here, I think.
We'll see if that's actually what Get Stuffed wants to do. They're going to ban out that Muradin instead. We'll have to see if indeed Garrosh is what wants to be picked up for offensive gaming.
I think they're probably gonna go with the Phoenix ban here. That's what I would think. Or
Phoenix Lightning Breath combination would be pretty dreadful.
Especially because you don't have the white mean this time, and you're probably not gonna get Blaze. So I think if you're banning the Phoenix would be a smart play here. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And also, just keep in mind that it's not just that. He provides really strong wave clear and murking, and it's really important on this map. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Good ban.
Very good ban. Still need offlane and assassin here, and some kind of damage for Get Stuffed. So I'm wondering if they're gonna save that offlane for their last pickup in this draft, or if they're willing to pick it up now. They're gonna grab the Maiev and the Rainer here.
Okay. I would be very shocked if this wasn't a Garrosh right here. But maybe he goes for ETC again. I just think he's gonna have a hard time staying alive without the white man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe's banned, so that's not an option.
Still have the ETC option, but I don't know if I'm really a fan of that, especially with the overlap of 4 or 5 mosh pit.
Yeah,
there is that Garrosh, and we got
they get the
Blaze.
They get the Blaze. Yeah, that's like I said. This I think Dragon King's gonna need to be really careful later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because he will get annihilated. But, however, the one thing I will say, he's got the Maiev, and then maybe they have I think a Leoric's coming out. Yeah.
There we go.
They might be able to tank some of the damage if they don't get the pure isolation. However, I say both teams have pretty good setups. You got I still think the Gul'dan. I mean, I don't think this draft would have changed very much. Probably could have gotten a Gul'dan later in the draft. But
yeah.
I'm surprised Blaze. I guess I think that Get Stuffed was planning on a Blaze pick and then countering with the Leo.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And what you were saying before about the early Gul'dan, I feel like they could have gone with the Garrosh Blaze or even the Garrosh Greymane in the 1-2, not giving too much away. But I feel like with getting that Gul'dan early and then the immediate follow-up of Karazim and Greymane, that just set up so well for them for Get Stuffed to pick up on that Maiev
I actually don't like this Leoric pick because he's going to get shredded by Greymane. He's going to get shredded by Greymane. And Karazim. I think he's gonna have a really hard time staying alive on this, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I think it's relatively evenish. I might have a slight edge to offensive gaming, but I think it could go either way.
Yeah, definitely going either way here as we see Get Stuffed with all the B steps waiting at the gate. We are gonna have Drink and Run on Deckard Cain. John Knight's gonna be on the Leoric, Dragon King on Diablo. Battlejet on Rainer, and Psycho on Maiev. You have Get Stuffed.
And on the right, we have Offensive Gaming. Frank Jukes on Garrosh, Lindenex on Karazim, Sturge, and Blaze, Slytherin on Greymane, and Exalted One on Gul'dan.
We'll have to see how that Gul'dan pays off overall in this game. Going Echo of Corruption on level 1, so getting lots of damage from that ability once that stacks later in the game.
Yeah, and I think Sturge is gonna have a little bit harder time in his lane in the bottom. Although it's not terrible right now.
Yeah, not terrible. Both just one's gonna swing a big ghostly hammer, the other's just gonna throw down some oil, and the entire journey will rinse and repeat until one of them either gets ganked or accidentally extends too far and plays themselves, which is always what happens, I feel like, in the offlane here.
You see this wave clear advantage that offensive gaming has. They're much quicker to rotate and much quicker to clear.
Yeah.
And I think that might net him the ability to either get some early turn-ins. Neither team has really good poke for the turn-in, so if you can zone out reasonably well, I think you should be able to turn in.
Yeah, I think the only poke, I mean, you can have Blaze, and this is so much poke going in with that jet propulsion, but that leaves him very vulnerable. Garish at least can poke a little bit, but the range isn't too great. So Greymane Greymane and Gul'dan having some of the ability, but only so much. The flip onto Dragon King, though, immediately showing how much damage can come out. Psycho with the tether capturing 3, and this fight is going to entirely reset at this point.
Yep. Exalted One was able to get out a pretty good corruption right there. Get some stacks. Where is he on stacks right now? 12 already.
Sitting at
pretty
that
decent,
12.
I think.
Yeah, John Knight, as you mentioned, still just bullying Sturge in this bottom lane. Psycho coming out seemingly to scope out
So
a little.
good,
Looks
so
like she's going to start on this bottom siege camp, though, in the time being. While John Knight starting to rotate up, turning in the gems that he does have, but Sturge preventing that for the time being.
Yeah, I do like this play from Get Stuff to get that camp, so they can apply pressure somewhere else.
Yeah, allow them to get pressure. As you mentioned, they don't have the best wave clear, so it is going to help them a little bit in that department, trying to get some kind of laning advantage in this game. Although they do already have a slight experience lead, not too much, but we've just seen the constant rotations coming out of offensive gaming, and again with that Gul'dan, how quickly these lanes clear up. And so they're looking pretty good in terms of gems, but both teams tied up for the time being in that department.
Yeah, offensive gaming was able to turn a few, but not. Oh, now they just got a bunch more. So that's kind of a big deal actually now.
They're waiting in the bushes here, waiting for something to happen. Frank Jukes going in onto Battle Jet, but not too much there. A lot of thought, not too much commitment there for the rest of offensive gaming, and just enough to push them off this turn-in point.
I really think that the early game, I mean, not much has happened, but if you see there's slight macro advantages that offensive gaming has gotten over time, and now they're probably going to get a turn-in.
Yeah, they're only 3 gems away, so the members of Get Stuffed really camping out at this top shrine here. Blaze, though, free to turn in without too much trouble at the bottom. First Web Weavers going over to the members of Offensive Gaming, which is going to give them a huge structural advantage if they can push this correctly, but we'll have to see if the members of Get Stuff will be able to really defend hard against this objective push.
That was a good juke by Linux.
Yeah, the push.
Kinda looks like they're more focused on getting the mid lane push.
Yeah, the mid lane push, definitely seemingly the focus. A lot of resources from Get Stuff really committed to that top, where that boss will eventually spawn later in the game. And so if that is a potential win condition, we saw it help win the game last time around. So Get Stuff very wary of giving up that advantage up there, but rotating quickly down to finish off this Web Weaver. Not too much damage done to the fort,
Yeah,
getting down to about half actually.
I think that was a pretty weak turn-in. I think early turn-ins generally don't do as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even like I've heard some people say that you should wait a little bit longer before you turn in.
Yeah, there's always the anxiety of, do we do this very early on and don't lose our gems? Because I think a lot of people also get nervous when they have 30 gems, 40 gems sitting on you, especially when you have a composition with a Greymane who might have a lot of gems, wants to get them in simply so they can be a bit more risky in a lot of these team fights.
It's kind of interesting right now. You're actually seeing Sturge is doing pretty well in the lane right now. Looks like they're going to get the turn in. So, Get Stuff.
Ooh, Dragon King with the flip onto Frank Jukes. The body blocks as well confirm the kill onto Garrosh here in the mid lane. Turn in, captured for Get Stuffed, and now it is their turn to have a rebuttal push against their opponents here, and they're gonna go right up to that mid lane that we talked about with that boss objective, trying to push it out a little bit into their favor.
Yeah, it looks like Frank Juice kind of misclicked a little bit there. I think he had the opportunity to get out, but didn't quite move in the exact way he wanted to, it seemed like, and got picked off.
And we talked about the range or the lack thereof on any kind of poke potential for those turn-ins, and so Garrosh going in, trying to stall a little bit, but the immediate response from Dragon King with the Shadow Charge absolutely punished Frank Jukes here. A lot of damage coming onto this fort so far. This Web Weaver's still have health. Dragon King, though, trying to front from the line. A beautiful route from Decker Kane, but a response tether also coming out from Maev, forcing the members of Offensive Gaming to kind of back away from this keep now that it's going to fall, not wanting to get caught out preemptively. But Frank Jukes, again, the Shadow Charge coming out from Diablo, the Lightning Breath, trying to slow the members of Offensive Gaming, and that is 4 kills coming in for Get Stuffed here, Random.
Yep. That just happened. This is an easy boss play right here. This might be keep. They're gonna turn in, looks like, instead.
Yeah, they do have an additional turn-in, and so if no one's there to necessarily keep you from doing it, might as well get them in. They might be just trying, like you mentioned, to get this keep down as early as possible, which is also something Offensive Gaming seems to be very nervous of as they clean up that top lane immediately. And a second in a row, Web Weaver phase coming in for Get Stuffed, focusing here on mid rather. Wonder if they're going to have another amazing Lightning Breath play like that later on. They still have about 10 seconds before it's online, so likely not so much aggressive until that is back.
They do have bunker now, so that's going to help a little bit if that happens. We'll have to see if the Offensive Gaming can get the isolation.
Yeah, thinking about that bunker, I'm wondering if there's ways for Get Stuffed to actually bait that out a little bit. Maybe force the use of it, maybe with some, maybe with an Entomb. Perhaps try to get folks low, force the bunker out, follow up with Lightning Breath as an option. But right now, Get Stuffed simply pushing so hard with this level 13 advantage over their opponents. The pokes coming out from Frank Jukes yet again. But not too much they can do. They're going to hide behind their structures for the time being, trying not to give any more kills to their opponents, because they've already been killed 5 times to 0.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is on Frank Jukes kind of stepping a little bit too forward. He's got to make sure that he and his team are on the same page.
Yeah, and I liked the immediate call to grab this Bruiser Camp for Get Stuffed while they still have that advantage. And Offensive Gaming just looking so lost right now, simply having to buy their time and try to get soak of their own. I'm surprised there's no one up in the top lane trying to clear a bit more, given that the keep is already exposed quite a bit and some damage given to it as well. They're going to focus right now. There's the blaze going up there. But they have to just sit around, wait for that 13. There's not really too much they can safely do until then.
There is not. And you don't really want to get a turn-in down a talent tier. They might have to do it, but...
Ooh. Can John Knight possibly get an Entomb that keeps them in? No. Being able to sneak by the gate just in time. I was really hoping for a very big play coming out there from Get Stuffed, but patience also a virtue, not wanting to leap too quickly onto their opponents.
If he had gone in too early, I think he would have gotten punished.
Yeah.
There is a lot of burst just from 2 heroics on the side of Offensive Gaming, keep that in mind. So he goes in there and he gets hit with, I think, what does he take? Like 70% of his health just from 2 moves.
That is a lot. That's a very big number that you don't want to be losing out on here. We do have turn-in available for Offensive Gaming, and they're going to try to hover around the shrine before 13. Dragon King going in onto Frank Jukes, the Unstoppable, going to come out to get out of that scenario. The fight resets.
Yep. Frank Juke's fortunate to be able to get out there. Good Indomitable by him on his part.
I like this potential boss bait coming out from Get Stuffed, waiting to see if the members of Offensive Gaming might come and pop a peek. Sturge is definitely up here, and it looks like they're keen to this boss call already. The oil ignition going to come out, but they're not going to go in. 13 was just picked up, and they just don't have the time or the speed to get in and defend against that boss call. So that is a boss barreling in, and the lightning breath is going to come out, slowing down a couple of the members of Offensive Gaming, but not too much to follow up there. On the flip side, there's been a camp pushing in again in that bottom lane for Get Stuffed. So they've had, it's finally fallen, but it had a little bit of pressure down there as well. I don't think this keep survives random.
I wouldn't think so.
Oh, the beautiful call of focus down on the Grameen, the Entube trapping folks into the Warden's cage. Frank Jukes ends up getting pulled back in, ends up getting killed. The keep is going to fall. The health bars aren't entirely the highest here for Get Stuffed, but they're pushing in already. There's 2 members of their opponents down, so they're going to get the flip onto Sturge, but their focus now turning to the core. The shields are falling. The boss is almost dead. Can Offensive Gaming do anything to get some kills in? Decker Kane is the first to go. John Knight getting low as low, but this keep is already so low. So much damage coming out from the members of Get Stuffed, and that is Gabe going over to Get Stuffed here, bringing the series 1-1 at the end of this evening, Random.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just got abused in the laning. Like, basically, I think that Get Stuffed fixed the laning, and Offensive Gaming got picked off. Strength Juice got picked up multiple times in some of these turn-in situations. I think that the first turn-in did not get enough value, and they were almost down in experience, I think, when it was finished. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that Garrosh, even with that additional armor, just was such a focus for Get Stuffed to take down that not too much that he can do to really act as that front line that the team needed. So Get Stuffed being able to take advantage of that, push into it, make sure any type of poke from Garrosh was punished with a very prompt Shadow Charge coming in and securing the kill. So great tactics coming in from game number 2 for Get Stuff. We're going to find ourselves a member of their team, actually, to come have an interview with us. Let's pop into lobby 2 just to prepare for that.
Okay.
Let me message their captain real fast. Yeah, very interested also to hear their takes on what kind of happened in game number 1, because with the risk of something like, you know, going all in on a solo support Abathur, they must have had some kind of plan, and I'm curious to see where they think they ended up faltering in that match. John Knight, how are you doing?
I'm mad we lost that first game.
We were actually just talking that, and hello, Battlejet. How are you both feeling, though, after game number 2?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. Fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually going back to game number 1, and while we were waiting for coin flip, John was talking to us about Sky Temple just a bit, talking about how you all seem to feel very good going to that map. What trouble do you think that you had kind of solidifying on that solo support Abathur composition, and what about Offensive Gaming kind of gave you a challenge there?
The Maiev pick was probably not the right call. Like, that's basically it. I put Psycho in a really hard to execute situation. We haven't run that in the solo support. We literally just ran 4 out of 5 of those heroes in a scrim and like ran over a team. So that's a Storm team actually. So I don't know like why that didn't. I didn't really foresee that being a problem with Maiev, but there was a lot of problems with her being able to go into the Jaina. And the Nazebo damage, and just that you throw Greymane in there, that's a lot of burst. I was not expecting their draft. That was actually a pretty crazy draft by them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we were necessarily expecting the gazebo coming out of them either, and necessarily fitting into that composition. Was that something you maybe predicted, or was that also kind of out of left field?
Oh, seeing the gazebo, no.
Well, and then going into game number 2, I just want to say that lightning breath, that 4-kill lightning breath, how intense was that? Like, what was going through your heads when that was all unfolding?
Poggers.
Just a single poggers whispered into the wind.
I was just hitting the blaze, trying to get a kill on the blaze, see if I could top what they did.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, so sad face.
Yeah, after the cage, the like stars aligned and they were like in the perfect line. Like it would like shish kebab by my Q. And that felt amazing.
Yeah, I just think like after we got the lead with that team, the second game that our comp just scaled way better. Whereas in the first game is kind of the case with them too. They just had a better scaling comp with the Zebo.
Absolutely. Random, I'll pass it over to you for some questions for these fine gentlemen.
So you didn't get your roll.
I'm actually really glad I didn't get Uriel. I wanted to play different offlaners, but it's nice to finally bust out the Leo this season.
What is an offlaner if they're not Uriel, though, is really the question right now in the meta of Hero of the Storm. So, you know.
Well, I don't know. Like, last I checked on Uriel, I had 5 out of 8 of the wins in the division on her. So
Wow.
I kind of wanted to play a different hero. I don't want to be a Uriel slave. I want to play Dahaka, Blaze, Thrall, Leo, Malthael, Sonya, Artanis, Tyrael, Arthas, Illidan, Ragnaros. When's my Diva game though? That's what I'm really looking forward to. Is when I can bust out Diva.
Please make sure, if I'm not casting that game, if it ever comes up, just ping me somewhere and make sure I tune in, because I would love to see a Diva game here in NGS.
That'd be spicy.
I've been warming the Diva engines up for a while. But what's really spicy is when I'm gonna bust out the Murky. No one's gonna see it coming, and then it's gonna hit. He knows. He's seen me do it.
Cool.
Yeah, and just there's a lot of really good stuff in that game. Just the Diablo play was really good by Dragon. He just went in and got kills seemingly at will. We kind of got a good rotation league because they tried to gank me, and I was aware of it because my team was yelling at me like, "John, don't get ganked."
I think it came down. Well, I think a big problem was they didn't really go for any mercenaries.
That too. That was actually another weird one, but that was just because the game just got weird for them, and I don't know. They have an anti-burst comp, but not necessarily anti-dive, because we can get past their dive because my Ev is OP, and we kind of just ran with that. And then you add Raynor, who's just sitting in the back, just hitting people without taking damage, giving them pepper.
Give him just a little pepper. Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us for some questions. I'm going to give the floor over to you for any shoutouts that you might have for tonight.
Shoutouts to the whole team, Battlejet, myself, I guess, Drink, Psycho, Dragon, our head coach, Mockery,
Morochi.
Morochi, the coachy, as we lovingly call him now. Shoutouts to all the teams we coach. What's the name of the team you coach again, buddy?
Special Kids.
Special Kids. Psycho Swarm coaches, or Psycho coaches Psycho Swarm, which is pretty hilarious. I coach VGC's Adbods, and I also coach Planet Crackers. And shoutouts to Regen Black for our match Friday. That's gonna be hype.
Coming up this Friday?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
definitely
the
gonna
big
have
one.
to peep that one. That will be hot for sure. All right, we will let you two go. Thank you again. We hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks for casting.
Oh, of course, our pleasure.
Oh yeah, and thanks to the casters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those guys.
I always try to remember that one. I forgot. Sorry.
It's
I feel
all
bad.
It's all good. I'll just hide the VOD from you. It's fine.
I
All right.
had the first game. That's fine.
All right. Thanks again. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see you.
Later.
Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for us here, but don't go away because we are going to raid a different game. There's a bunch of games going on right now for Nexus Gaming Series, so we'll raid over to one of those in just a little bit. But Random Task, thank you so much for joining me here today. If the folks want to find you on the internet, Where might they be able to do that at the time?
What is it called? The black web or whatever?
The dark web.
Dark web? Dark web? That's where you can find me.
Cool. I think
I'm in the NGS chat a lot. You can find me there. You can follow me on Twitter at random task. No, at random 4x's task. Because random task is taken already. I'm assuming it's because it's probably like the actual random task from Austin Powers.
Probably. I actually popped a link into chat there for you, so folks can hopefully you get a few followers from that. But yeah, thank you again for joining me over here. I had a blast. And also thank you over to Totally Psycho for the Prime subscription. And to Bahamut for your 2-month sub, friend. Thank you. And for all the support here tonight, we had a ton of fun. We can't do this without the folks coming in to watch these incredible teams do what they do best. So we hope to see you soon. And until next time, have a great night, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.